So let's come to sitting. See if we can find a comfortable cross-legged sitting position, or gently uncomfortable if you want to push yourself a little bit, but mostly just to tune into the breath and to see if you can feel that inhales and the exhale. As we tune into the breath, we begin to listen to the body. We begin to listen to the sensation. Begin to listen with a feeling awareness. And can you notice the breath into the sides? Can you notice the breath into the back? So bringing the awareness to the body. Let the breath pass through the nose if that's comfortable. In through the nose and out through the nose. And maybe even, if not already, to close the eye. To allow the awareness to go inside. Seeing if you can take a little bit more time with each breath. And then from where we are, seeing if you can just fold the body forwards to how far can you reach. And if there's anything, any sensation, shooting sensations, pinching sensations, stretching sensations, compression sensations that tell you to stop, just reach to that edge and see what happens with the breath. See what comes along. Maybe you're just surrendered down and there's nothing major. But you might notice how the breath goes differently into the back of the body. And seeing if you can layer that breath, seeing if you can deepen the breath. And from this forward place, see if we can reach to the side. Or maybe go to the right side. If you happen to go the other way, no problem. As we're folding down, we'll work both sides in a moment. And just taking a moment here to feel. Feel into that side back stretching, feeling how much your body compresses towards the leg. Or if there's a sensation that says, oh, don't go any further. So we reach an edge of one way or another. You let the breath be the thing that's trying to gently wave against that, gently work against, like the ocean, gently working into the sand or into the cliff face, and gently molding it differently. So there's no rush. It will change over time. Right now we're looking for small change. The deeper the breath, the deeper the wave. And more of that shore face, of that cliff edge, it will gently have an impact against. And let's see if we can go over to the other side, seeing how far we can surrender into that other knee. Is it the compression or the stretching that limits you, or is it something else? What is the edge? What sensations come to surface, and what happens in the top of the inhale when you're full of breath? At the bottom of the exhale when you exhale entirely. And then let's find our way all the way back up when we're ready to. If you need a bit longer anyway, no problem. See if you can find your way to leaning the hands behind you. So we're leaning into the hands a little bit. It's just to find a bit of push into the arms. And is it possible to try to squeeze the shoulder blades together? The shoulder blades coming together behind the back sort of puffs the chest out a little bit. And we can even push into the hands to see if we could lift the chest. Trying to keep the head forward if there's any issues in the neck. If you're comfortable too, you could relax the head back as well. Tails gently grounded. You're just seeing if you can stretch that front body. Reaching for sensation in the front body, maybe in the belly, maybe in the chest. There's obviously going to be sensation in those arms and those shoulders squeezing together behind. But working all of that to reach into the front body as much as you can, extending, lengthening that front body. With any back bend, you want to try to make it a front extension. If you can lean and reach and find your way to that front body stretch, then you'll be able to go comfortably or more comfortably into that back bend. So that's where we're reaching, sensation in the front body. Those sensations we want to feel for, reach for. And again, the breath here can be quite strong to help. Top of the inhale can really expand those ribs and find more sensation in that front body. And when you're ready to find your way all the way up and just releasing those hands and finding our way back. And let's bring the feet out to the side. So we'll bring the feet to the right side, so that we've got the left sit bones down on the floor. We're still sitting on the floor. And the left hand, we're going to bring that up towards the seat. I like thumb forward because then you're bringing the shoulder blade around the side of the body and trying to reach through that elbow as much as possible. Straight up is fine. Absolutely amazing to reach straight up. And then eventually, with that arm extended, that shoulder lifting, you can take even more extension through the side body. But it's not about getting the hand over. It's about getting that arm reaching long. The sensation down the side. Now we're going side and side. So the left side of the body is expanding. And you can be breathing into that. The right side of the body might be a compression. Sometimes that cramps into the right leg, or sensation like that might come along. But how much can you reach towards that extension? Cramping sensations, if they arrive, are not pleasant, but they are fine. Just let them be if you can. See if you can breathe through them. And if you can't, you need to release them. Let's see if we can relax that stretch on the side and try to fold towards that left leg. So bring the hands either side of the left knee and just try to walk the hands wider, maybe bending the elbows. Trying to get the belly to the leg. And trying to fold in, and here we're stretching through the back, through the hip. How much can you fold in and relax down? Can you get the belly to relax into the leg, the chest to even to rest into the knee, the head maybe reaches the floor. But arriving to the floor is not important. It's about feeling in, finding those edges again and letting the breath do the work. Letting those waves make the sand finer, refining the sand. Or break down the stones into sand. And let's find our way back up. And we'll just bring the legs over to the other side. So just rolling, feet out in front, rolling across the sit bones. Now we're sitting on the right buttock, feet hooking in towards the left side. So that right buttock down, the right hand is reaching up. So we're going down and up, and that brings that side, right side of the body into extension. Thumb forward if you can, so that you're opening the shoulder, reaching tall. And it's fine to stay with reaching up. But if you feel you can go further, keep the arm extended, the shoulder reaching and lengthen. I like to pull on the opposite knee also. If there's any tension in the neck, feel free to twist and turn. If there's cramping or compression in that left side of the body, see if you can breathe through. How deep can you breathe? Letting the breath be natural and deep as much as possible, so not forced. Let's find our way to fold in towards that right leg as well when we're ready. So hands either side of the right knee. Coming equally wide if you can, so you can fold into the knee. It doesn't matter how deep you get. Maybe something says stop, something blocks you, something stops you getting closer to the leg. Can you go towards that knee, belly towards the leg? How close can you get? And what sensations come along? Is there anything in the knee or the hip or the belly or the back? I tend to have more weight in the right arm here as I'm folding down, because otherwise I'm falling towards that right side, but still trying to fold directly to the knee. And then slowly let's find our way all the way back. Can you find your way onto the shins? So we roll up onto the shins. We've got both feet tucked underneath behind, toes pointing away, and we're just trying to sit down, taking that time to settle. If ever it's difficult, just see how close you can get to that thing. So maybe you'd be on the hands and just lowering the hips. But if you're comfortable onto the hips, then you can find hands to the floor behind. And again, opportunity to squeeze those shoulders together and try to lift the heart, the chest up and forward. So we're going backwards. So we actually want to go forwards through the middle of the spine, through the heart, through the chest. And the tail's going backwards in relationship to the chest. And maybe the head goes backwards as well, if that's not strain on the neck. Breathing and opening into the front body and stretching the front of the ankle. And then let's see if we can find our way all the way back up with the spine when we're ready. And we're going to stretch the ankles and the toes even a little more if we can. So try to lift the right knee and try to push the right heel through the ankle. So the toes are still pointing back. I used to get this strong burning sensation through the top of my foot here. So I don't think that's unusual if that happens for you. But if you can lift the knee. One day, the tendons will all be happy to be reaching this far. And then you won't feel really any major sensation. Let's let that go down. Same on the other side. So as we're lifting the knee, we're not trying to flex the ankle. The ankle's trying to be open. Doesn't matter how high that knee lifts. It's almost like you're trying to slide that foot forwards, but the toes want to stay pointing back. It's just that edge before your foot really begins to move. So the friction before the movement in the foot. Let's see if we can work those toes the other way. So stretch the toes into flexion, tuck the toes underneath. Can you get the balls of the feet down to the floor? So some people might be on the tips of the toes. If that's you, that's absolutely fine. It means you'll probably have lots of sensation. You can lean into the hands or you can come up to sitting. If coming up to sitting is too strong, just stay forward and see how much you can push the hips back towards the heel. If you're comfortable coming up, maybe you can reach the hands up behind you again. If there's too much sensation in the toes, where is the edge that you can get to where it's comfortable? Again, if you can, if you're getting back to the hands, can you puff out the chest? Maybe you can relax the head back. Can you at the bottom relax towards the heel? And maybe you can find an action in the toes as if you're trying to pull those toes through, like you're trying to flex those toes, engage those toes, grip those toes into the floor so that you're activating the muscles and pulling on those tendons a little bit more. Let's find our way all the way back up. So here we're going to try to roll over the feet. We try to relax the toes if we can by letting the heels come down towards the floor, pushing into those hands. Possible, keep the knees together. It doesn't matter if the heels arrive. You're hanging down and possibly reaching those hands forwards too. If you can, hang the heels towards the floor so the weight is in the legs. The hands could come off the floor, but they're reaching forward. And you're looking down towards those toes and stretching through the spine, breathing, balancing, and then slowly let's come forwards and lean a little bit of weight into the hands. So we're leaning into the hands and just try to keep the knees off the floor if you can. So come forward. Obviously, if it's too strong, you can bring the knees down. But how far forward can you bring the shoulders? And as you bring those shoulders forwards, maybe we can rock side to side. Maybe you can walk the hands a little bit and change the position of the hands as you put some weight into the hand. If that's too strong, you can have the knees on the floor. But if you can, just feeling into that, pouring the weight into the hands, shoulders as far forward as your body is happy. And then once it's enough, We find our way back towards the heels. This time, let's try to open the knees wide so the body can fold down in between the legs. When the knees coming wide, you're able to hang a little bit further back into the heels or drop them a little deeper to the floor. And again, stretching through the back, but also stretching through those inner thighs into the hanging and breathing. And then let's see if we can find our way back with the knees towards the floor in front. So we bring those knees down, and here we're going to stand up on those knees. And as we do, try to find a little bit that let's come onto our hands and our knees so we can do a little bit of cat-cow. We're going to try to, for me, it's cat-dog, really. It's this angry cat, this sense of long back spine. And here we're trying to keep the shoulders away from the ears and really lift into the middle of the heart, into the chest, up to the ceiling. So there's a strong push through the arms. And then our happy dog of lengthening the belly. And here, maybe hands pulling towards the knees, knees pulling towards the hands. It's this action on the floor. It's not that they move anywhere. The movement wants to be what happens in the body, the action, the energy that's running through the body. Let's change from one to the other. So the angry cat and the happy dog, sort of opposite energies. So you're finding length in the belly for the happy dog, and you could wag your tail and pant a little bit if you wanted, and that angry cat, and trying to round and make the back big and strong, and even dig those claws into the floor so you're active through the entire hand and the fingertip. But most importantly, it's understanding the spine in these two things. So this happy dog is this long belly, and the angry cat is this long back, and that's a complete spine. So even the head is gently looking down towards the tail, which is curling under in the angry cat, and in the happy dog, the tail begins to lift, and so does the head. And then the heart goes forwards, and the sensation is in the front body. So let's see if we can work this a little bit in our camel preparation, standing on the knees. But here we need to begin to isolate, so between different parts of the spine. So the tail is this angry cat, this curling the tail under. And you might find if you bring a hand to the back of the body and a hand to the belly, you try to send the back hand down and the belly hand up. And so you get that curling, rounding. And you might feel that stretches into the thighs a little bit. You want to keep that activity in the body. The legs, the muscles are working there on their own. So we've got that angry cat tail, that angry cat lower back. But then in the upper back, we're trying to look the happy dog. So the heart goes up and forwards, and maybe even the chin goes up. And you're protecting that lower back, and you're lengthening into the front body, and seeing how far you can find that extension. And then let's find our way all the way back up and see if we can find entirely an angry cat spine, keeping as much as you can, hips on top of the knees. So you're curling and rounding down, seeing how much you could look in and reach. Maybe even the hands can come to the inside of the legs, and then you're stretching across the back of the shoulders a little bit more. So as we find our way back up, keep that tail in an angry cat, but open into the heart, into the chest. Open into the front body as much as you can. And then this only has to be a small movement. But if you can take everything, thighs, hips, and upper spine back a little, and you lean backwards, and then you're pressing into the top of the feet to get even more sensation into the thighs. And try and isolate that it's a lean, and pivoting from the knees so that nothing changes in the back and you don't get any pain in the back. And then we can curl forwards and reach down. Again, all the way into that angry cat. And then we'll see if we can find hands to the floor again. Tucking the toes under, let's find our way into a downward dog. And here we're going to walk out that dog. Now, talking about the spine and the downward dog, what is a downward dog? It's a big dog, isn't it? So we're trying to see it again. It's not this angry cat spine. We want to see, can we find this opposite spine? So we're trying to almost look forwards and lift the tail up and back. And you might have a little bend in the knees if that helps you get the right spine, because that's important. The spine is the core. The spine is what we're trying to articulate and find. That's where the seat of the consciousness runs through that. So if we can get the spine right, that's more important. But then we do want to work those legs and those shoulders as well. So as much as you can, opening the shoulders, bringing the shoulders broad. And if you want to walk out those legs, you can, but try to find that long belly in the downward dog. So like we isolated the hips and the shoulders, or the hips and the away from the head and the heart before, here in that downward dog, if you can, just let the head come through, but keep that tailbone floating up and back behind. So you're trying to lengthen the back of the neck up, keeping that rest of the spine long in the belly, which is quite a hard thing to do. And then let's see from here if we can bring the right leg forward. We'll walk the right leg towards the hands and we'll extend that left leg back. And if you need to adjust, you can wriggle the left foot backwards or walk that right leg in and see if you can come down nice and deep. Let's drop down onto the back knee. And just see if we can go forwards and backwards with that front leg. Can you get that right leg into extension? How far can you go? And then come forwards. And as we come forwards, let's see if we can get the left leg into extension. Try pointing the toes away. So we're on the top of the ankle and trying to lift the knee if you can. We're just working that forward, backwards to awaken the legs. So knee can come down, back knee down, and we're reaching back. And as much as you can, try to minimize the movement of the hands. It's not about moving the hands, it's about moving the hips. And if again, like we did when we were sitting and folding forwards or twisting to the side, we come up against an edge where the body says, no, that's as far as you're going. That's absolutely fine. Those edges are where we change the fastest, where the change is most noticeable. So rather than going, okay, I need to get the front leg straight, and you walk the hands all the way back, you see, can you leave the hands by the front foot and go, oh, well, this is as far as the bottom will go back, the hips will go back. As you come forwards, can you keep the front heel grounded? Because here we're working quite a lot on the hips, and the heels work into that hip reflex. Reflexology points in the feet for the hips are in the heel. Once we've gone forward and backwards a few times, let's see if we can find our way forwards, and we're going to come up a little with the body. Maybe let's leave the back knee on the floor for now, but we're going to come up with the body and see if we can twist across the front leg. Can you get that left elbow across that right leg? So you can walk in, you can work that twist. Maybe you're just pulling and pushing with the arms. Maybe you want to bring your hands into prayer. And then with that arm and leg pressing against each other, see how much you could first of all send that right knee forward. If you wanted to work even deeper, you can extend the back leg, try to lift the back knee and breathe. But right knee forward as you twist and pull, pressing that left shoulder against the right knee, left elbow against the right knee, and the right knee against the left shoulder or elbow. And then let's find our way all the way back. Now, as we find our way back, let's see if we can here stand up on that right knee. We're going to turn the right toes outside. So we externally rotate, we bring the hip, the knee turning outwards, and we try and get the little toe to the floor. This can be really hard to balance. See if you can try to keep the foot flexed as much as you can. And then we're going to see, can we fold in and forwards and down? So lots of sensation down the outside of the leg. If you can, you reach to the floor. If that's too far, you just reach to those edges. Too much sensation can sometimes feel like I can't go through that. So you stop and you breathe there. Stay there and breathe there. But if you can, folding in a little deeper with each exhale and feeling almost like this sciatic pain, this strong sensation down the outside of the leg. Trying to keep the knee extended. And then let's see if we can find our way forwards again. So as we come forwards, bending that right knee, here we're going to extend the back leg and press into the ankle to try to lift that left knee. Let's try to lean into that left hand, and we're going to turn the right toes to the side. So we're on the right heel. So twisting and trying to let that left side of the body go long. How much can you lean into the left hand? Can you stay active through the left leg? So even if the knee comes down to the floor, you're still pressing into the ankle as much as you can. So you're getting this outside line along that left side of the body up to that left shoulder, all stretching. Maybe you're twisting towards that foot behind you, but keeping the front heel grounded as much as you can. And then let's see if we can turn forwards again. So as we turn forwards, let's tuck the back toes underneath. And again, we want to keep that right heel down on the floor. We're going to twist nice and wide with that top hand. So leaning into the left hand again. This time more lifted. See how wide you can twist. So not up, but even beyond. Doesn't matter how far the hand goes. It's about turning the shoulder, twisting the shoulder so that arm can be a big lever to twist the spine. And then we're going to come forward with the right hand. As deep forward as we can. Stay grounded in the heel as you reach the hand forwards. If it's too strong, let the left arm bend. Let that right shoulder come down as deep as you can inside of the knee. You can relax the back knee down to the floor. You can even come down to the elbow. As much as we can, we're putting the weight into that right heel and sinking in, settling in and feeling in. And breathing. And then we'll find our way all the way back and see if we can reach back into our downward dog. So pushing into the hands and walking it all out. Taking a little time just to be free to twist and turn, to release the stretching, the sensations that were there. And then seeing if we can find that dog again, that dog being that grown-up puppy, that happy dog, that floating of the tail, the lifting of the chest, and then maybe the lengthening of the back of the neck, if you want to try to get there as well, so that the drishti can be the belly, but the belly is long. And drawing away. Let's see if we can bring that left leg forward already. Bring the left leg between the hands. And we're seeing, can we come down onto the right knee and reaching that right foot away. We want to see if we can leave the hands by the front foot and travel forward and backwards. So when we come backward, the bottom's going to be pretty much above the right knee. When we come forwards, we're seeing, can we bring that right knee off the floor by pressing into the top of the toes? Top of the ankle if you can, and we're trying to lift the back knee to activate and extend the back leg. We're coming forward and backward, reaching one way and the other, and just trying to explore where can I get to without moving the hands. So it's like, oh, I get stuck, I need to move the hands, otherwise I can't go there. We're looking to reach into the stretch, and so it's about moving those hips. And if everything moves, we just move the body somewhere else, and we don't bring the stretch out. We don't bring that sensation of change into the body. And if the sensation is too strong, well, just don't go so strong. Back it off a little. And you get to where you can go to. If you can get the leg fully extended, you might need to go a little further. You could be folding in and bending the arms in. And once we've worked that forward and backwards a little bit, then we're going to come backwards and stand on top of the right leg, on top of the right knee. So here we're standing up. Again, we're trying to get the left leg extended, trying to flex the foot, trying to rotate outwards till the little toe is down on the floor. And that's hard to do. And it might be there's a little bend in the knee, or the toes are a little bit pointed away. And here we're seeing how much can we fold forwards. So you might walk the hands down the leg, you might bring one hand to the floor. You needed a block or something to be able to reach and fold into the sensation. How deep can you go? And what is the breath doing? Now, when we fold the spine, what shape does the spine make? Is that more of a happy dog, or is that more of an angry cat? So I would suggest that angry cat, the language I would try to use for coming forwards with an angry cat is to curl or roll the spine forward. And to fold forwards is a little bit more a happy dog. So this sense of, can you open the heart to chest? It doesn't matter if you can't really move the spine here. If you have to be a bit rolled with the spine, is fine. But the action, the energy underneath is, can I send my tailbone backwards to try to lengthen the front spine? That will bring even more sensation out of the leg. And if that's too strong, obviously you just do a little bit less, but you see how much you can work that. And then we see, can we come forwards again? Just relaxing that front leg, coming forwards. Heel is grounded. The toes of the right foot are pointing away. We're trying to press into the ankle rather than the toes if we can. But the toes, if it's too strong. And we see, can we try to lift the back knee? Leaning into the right hand on the inside of the left leg and seeing if we can, oh yeah, we're doing that one first. Let's do it. We'll do that one after. See if we can twist and roll and reach to the side body and lengthen. So sorry, we will come and do that. Me just getting the order wrong, but twisting, reaching, active through the back leg if you can. So you're finding that how deep could you drop the right hip to the floor? And you're lengthening through that right side of the body, out to right thigh, through the hip, into the side, into the belly, twisting, looking towards that back foot as much as you can. And then from here, we'll see if we can come back onto that right knee. And here we're going to see if we can twist across that left leg. We bring that right arm over the knee, elbow over the knee if we can. See how much you can pull and twist the body. If you can manage to try to pull that left knee forwards at the same time as pressing the knee against the arm, do. Hands can be pressing into prayer. If you want to go stronger, you could try to extend that back leg also as you breathe and twist. How much can you lengthen the spine? So from here, let's let that release. You see, can we bring that right hand down to the floor? And we're going to see if we can extend that right leg nice and long again. Left foot heel is grounded all the way, even when we come forward. So we're twisting wide as we can go. Opening across the chest, opening the spine. So that left hand can go from beyond up to out behind, but keep the thumb pointing over the head. So it's opening the chest, breathing, twisting. Then we're going to find forwards. As we come forwards, you're welcome to come down onto the right knee. But try to reach forward with the hands, not onto the toes. The left foot stays. I'm going to stay grounded in the heel. That's as far forward as I want to go. So that something is staying and something is reaching. And then you're finding that long and down, deep down as you can. You're welcome to come down to the elbow. But if you can, let that left arm reach. We're trying to put as much weight into that left foot as we can manage. And trying to breathe. So the left leg is doing all of the work. And the rest of the body is all about surrender. Let's see if we can find our way back. Hands down to the floor, front foot back, and just any sensations that are strong in the body, letting them subside, letting them release with a little bit of walking in the dog. And then we'll bring the knees down to the floor and we'll work a little bit on spine, shoulder flexibility and openness. So we've got this extended child pose. We've got the hands reaching long in front of us. And here we're trying to see, can we bring the body forwards without the elbows touching the floor? We want to glide the chin forward along the floor as deep as you can. You're trying to open the heart, the chest, and see how deep you can get. Elbows wide, and just trying to relax the chest towards the floor, pushing into the hands, pushing into the knee. And then finding your way all the way back. This movement can take us all the way forward to an upward dog, but if you do go there, don't cut the corners, cut them as little as possible. We want to be as deep as we can, ideally. And if we can, when we come forward, you can just go forward and backward to where your body gets stuck in the shoulders if that's too strong. But you go forward, hips to the floor, and then up into that front body long. And on the way back, you see if you can reverse that. So this chin, this chest, sliding, gliding close to the floor requires a lot of shoulder mobility, spine mobility and power in those arms. So you see how much you can work at it. If you can't make the full movement, doesn't matter. You can just find your way forwards and get stuck here. Take a few breaths. We're interested where the body gets stuck, what's possible and where we get stuck. Can I relax the shoulders and then find my way all the way back? Can I breathe in those places where I get a little bit stuck? If it's tricky, you can bring the hands a bit wide. It makes it easier. If the hands are too narrow, it makes it hard to bring the elbows wide and to find that space in between the hands or to ground those hands as you come all the way forward. And all the way back. And then from there, let's see if we can bring ourselves back into that down dog, because we're going to work a little bit of pigeon. Let's do pigeon first. We're going to see, can we bring that right leg? Just bring it nice and high for a moment if you like. So you find that stretching through the left leg and that active Activation of the back body to lift that right leg long. And we bring the right knee to the wrist and the right foot across the body. And we try, I like to slide the left foot back, so I'm sinking the hips down evenly, trying not to sit down to the right side, but stay evenly forward. Both hips come down as deep as each other. So then we're going to activate the back leg, pressing the ankle into the floor, lifting the knee. You see, can you get that knee lifted and the ankle pressing down? And just feeling that activation, maybe you can come up higher with the spine, so you're feeling it stretch through the front of the left thigh up into the belly. Then we're going to activate the front leg. So when we're working and focusing on activating the front leg, you might want to relax the back leg down a little bit. You want to come even higher with the spine. Maybe you can get those hands off the floor onto the leg. You can press onto the leg to lift the shoulders higher. You can lift the hips higher if you need to, so that you can be active through that legs without the back hurting. If you can, you release the hands and you can take those hands higher. You take the hands, the more strain it puts on the foundation. I like hands behind the head or hands reaching back. And we're going to see, can we fold forwards without the hands on the floor? Now, if that's impossible, you just use the hands on the floor to keep it safe, but trying to use the leg as much as you can. So you can fold in eventually, or maybe even get the head to touch the floor. But from there, can you lift the body back up? So that front leg is being all active, strong and pushing. How little can you use those hands on the floor if you need them at all? Maybe you can use the hands on the leg rather than the floor if you need to use the hands on something. Let's try again. See how much you can fold forward. If you're using the hands on the floor, try to keep the hands on the leg. Floor is lava for those hands. So you're like, I can't touch that. And you see how deep you can fold in. But if you could keep the hands behind the head, then you're working even stronger. And then you're pressing the head into the hands and working into the front spine long to come all the way back up when you're ready. If you can. Breathing. And then we just take a moment of surrender in. So we just let those hands relax down. Let the elbows come to the floor. And as you bring those elbows to the floor, you might want to rock the hips side to side. So you're just seeing if you can get a little bit of movement into the base of the spine, noticing how one side feels different to the other. A little bit of movement just to feel freedom. And then like we did when we were sitting cross-legged, we'll just twist both sides around. So maybe you're twisting across that front leg, seeing how much we can surrender down and forward. And if the breath is something that dropped away in your practice over the last half hour or so, then seeing if you can just return to that deep breathing, gentle breathing, nasal breathing if possible. Now, remember that we need to be sort of reaching in opposite directions a little bit. So as we reach the upper body towards the right side, maybe you could think about the hips going a little bit to the left side. And so you're beginning then to extend that left side of the spine and that left side through the hips. Maybe even that right buttock comes off the floor and the left hip comes down to the floor. And let's go around the other way as well. So as we reach the hands over towards that left side, away from that right knee. So you reach the hands away as much as you can. Maybe you're softening down to the elbow, but can you also reach the hips away? So maybe now you're trying to ground through that right hip and extend that right side of the spine, while also being the softness of surrender. That any action is as much about surrendering down as reaching in different directions. And then let's see if we can find our way back in. And we'll walk it out in a downward dog. So often that can be quite strong in that front leg. Maybe we need to just release. Hopefully it's not too much in the knees. We're always looking just to reach into those edges. And find a place where the body is feeling, but not into pain. Let's see if we can bring that left leg up nice and tall for a moment. We're going to bring that left leg forwards in just a second. So you find that back body strong, if you can. And then we bring the left knee to the left wrist. Left foot across to the right side of the back, right side of the body. I like to slide the right leg back to find the hips down as evenly as possible. And then we're seeing, can we come up with the bar, up with the spine? Initially activating the back leg, can you press in the ankle to lift the back knee to find more sensation through that right side of the body? Through the front right side as much as you can. Opening tall, and then we can keep the back leg active if you like, if you can manage. Keep that back leg strong and active and the back knee lifted, but we're going to try to lift the upper spine even more. So it might be hand to the foot and the knee to lift up tall and to sort of begin to activate that left leg. And it might be that you can release the hands all the way. If it goes into the back, maybe you need to lift everything a little bit more. So you can relax the back knee down to lift the hips a bit higher. Doesn't want to pinch the back. We're looking to activate the leg. The leg wants to be working strong. Stretching still through that right side. Hands could be a nice place to have the hands low and not on the floor is just behind. Lifting the hands above the head or even longer is quite strong. So as we come forward, we might be like, okay, I'm going to try and stay on that front leg or reach the hands behind. So it's nice and low. How far down and forward can you come? This is all about activating the front leg, pushing that front leg into the floor, supporting the body from that foundation. Can you find your way back up? Do you need those hands on the floor or can they stay off the floor? If you do need them on the floor, can you use your leg instead so that anything that you do push, even if it's with the hands, pushes through the leg and that leg becomes your port of call to the floor. We try one more time. You could go stronger, hands behind the head, or you could work it the same again. If you need the hands on the floor, that's absolutely fine as well. You use the hands on the floor. It's not about hurting the body. It's just about learning to see how much you can work that leg in this funny position, so a slightly odd position to be pressing that front leg into the floor. Find your way up again when you can. And from that up place, then we're going to take ourselves down into surrender. So here we just use the hands and we let that front leg just relax and be in the stretch. So we know how to activate the leg to press it into the floor. We're beginning to learn that. And then we can see now, can we let the leg be passive? Maybe we can roll, pushing with the elbows or the arms to roll the hips side to side. To find a little bit different sensations as far as the body's happy. And then I like to reach across that front knee, first of all, for some reason. So we're going to reach to the left side first, maybe belly towards the leg. How far can you reach the right arm? And as you're reaching over to that left side, maybe you're trying to hang the hips to the right side. So you're working in opposite directions, making one long, beautiful curve down that right side of the body from the right hand to the right foot, or the right elbow to the right knee. Breath is important. And maybe it's more about just surrendering in and down, and that's already enough. Let's see if we can reach the hands to the right side. As we reach the hands to the right side and maybe get the elbows down to the floor, can you pull the hips to the left side away from where those hands are reaching so that you're extending through the spine, hip to shoulder. Breathing, particularly down that left side. Feeling in. If you feel anything anywhere else, it's absolutely normal as well. It's where your body is feeling things, that's where your body is changing the most in any given moment. Let's find our way back to that downward dog. So we have a little time to walk it out, to let that release. And then we're going to make a pose that's similar to the pigeon in terms of the knee comes to the wrist, but we're going to have the foot is pointing straight backwards rather than coming across the body. So if we take that right leg up to the ceiling and reach it tall, And then when we bring the right knee to the right wrist, see if you can point the toes straight backwards, or even have the foot a little bit to the side, a little bit wider. You're sort of sinking the hips down again, as if we were doing the same into pigeon. But now, as we come down, we don't want to be on top of the right foot. We want to just come inside of the right foot. So we're trying to hang the belly and the hips down to the left side. You could even walk the hands a little bit further to the left and trying to make a kind of upward dog with that right knee forwards. And that might be tricky. So we're just seeing, can we find a little bit of length, and how much can we sort of surrender the hips down towards the floor with the knee wide. And we're going to add to this a thread the needle. So as we have that right knee forward, it's going to sort of push us onto that left side, that left shoulder down a little bit. You might need to take the left hand a bit further forward so that you can lean into that. Let's see if we can open wide with the right hand. We're working that twist through the spine. And then we're seeing, can we bring that right shoulder to the floor? So we're going to feed through the gap. And you're trying to get that right arm all the way extended and that shoulder down. You can use the left hand to lower the body down slowly, but you try to get that right shoulder down, the back of the right hand to the floor, the right arm all the way extended. And because that right knee is wide, it's sort of pushing that left shoulder down to the floor, and that's going to stretch across the back of the shoulder. If you can, you might rest the forehead down to the floor. You might keep the head a little bit lifted if that feels better. And if you don't need the left hand to support, you might bring the left hand down the side of the body, down by the outside of the left hand. Back with both hands to the floor if you can. If it's too strong, you can keep that left hand sort of underneath the shoulder. And here we're breathing and surrendering. Maybe you can relax the shoulders away from you. And then we'll find our way back into this upward dog with that knee forward. So we see if we can lift up through the shoulders. And as we try to find our way up here, see if there's any possibility. This might be too strong. You could stay with the knee bend, but you might try to extend that leg nice and wide and forward so it's outside of the arms. And then you can work into that sort of slightly open splits. And you see, can you lean those hips towards the floor? And maybe you can lengthen into the front spine a little bit more, if there's possibility to. And then we're finding our way back to our downward facing dog. If that's too strong, don't worry about getting that leg long and forwards. We just find our way into our dog when we're ready. Walking it out, reaching it out. So we'll do the same on the other side. So we can bring that left leg nice and tall. Reaching the left leg long, and then we'll bring the left knee to the wrist. And we're pointing the toes backwards, trying to slide the right leg back and letting the hips hang to the right side down. So that left foot is slightly out to the side behind, but we're trying to lengthen into that upward facing dog kind of position with the hips hanging down to the floor. Have the hands on the inside of the left knee so that you're really trying to get the hips towards the floor. And that might be strong. So it's just however much you can hang those hips down. So I like to bring the opposite hand a bit further forward, the right hand a bit further forward to give a bit more space underneath the arm. Bringing the left arm wide initially to get, if possible, some twist through the spine, some open across the chest. And then we see, can we find that left arm can come through? Trying to get that left shoulder down. So I'm going to bend the right arm, trying to get the left arm straight. And then once I've got that left arm down, it wants to be sort of beneath the shoulders, so not down lower than that if possible. Left shoulder to the floor. And then it's about releasing, if possible, that right shoulder down to the floor. If you get the right shoulder down to the floor, the right hand can come back in beside the hips. And then you're just surrendering the body down, lying on top of that left arm. Stretching across the back of the shoulders. If that's too strong, you can always be using that right hand to help you stay in that edge of okayness, of comfort. Wherever you get to breathing, how much can you surrender onto the arm? We'll find our way back into this upward dog variation here. We've got that knee forwards. Can you press into those hands and begin to lift the heart, lift the chest? Is that okay in the spine? Can you get sensation into the belly, into the front of the body? And if you want to try and go a little further, you could see, is it possible to extend that left leg a little bit out to the side and there, try to hang those hips down towards the right, towards the floor. And so you're sinking in, if possible, then you're lengthening into the front body. And then we'll find our way back into our downward facing dog. Just letting that go, releasing it, walking it out. So then let's see if we can try to articulate the spine. Let's make sure our dog is the right length. So if we just come forwards into a plank, the shoulders above the wrists and hips come down in between the heels and the shoulders. And then we can reach up and back. So we don't need to move the hands or the feet from here. We should be in about the right place. We try to now articulate the spine. So we're rolling the tail under to see how much can we roll and round through the spine and pushing the hips down and forwards, pushing into those hands, particularly through the pads of the thumbs. And you're trying to get the legs strong and extended and the hips down as deep as you can. So you've got this angry cat at the tail and you're beginning to open into this happy dog, into that upward happy dog with an angry cat tail. And then we see, can we find, is it possible to float the hips up and back? If you can, arms and legs stay strong and straight. So you're pushing through those shoulders, trying to keep the belly long. And the head stays looking forwards until you angry cat that tail again, curl it under and you're rolling through that angry cat spine. Remember, it's about making the back as big and broad as possible. So if you push that tail under, you're lifting the belly into the back, lifting the heart into the back, stretching across the back of the shoulder, articulating all the spine and then opening into the front body. And we'll do it 3 times at least. If you're going a little faster, you might do 4 or even 5 times. See if you can push through those arms to reach long. And one more time, rounding, articulating. Can you be really precise? And it's the lower back that leads the movement, and then it's the middle back, and then it's the upper back is moving. And the hips keep pushing forwards until you've rolled through the whole spine. Try to flex every vertebrae, every vertebral joint, and see if you can find long and to go back. You're seeing, can you stay long in the spine as much as you can? If you need to bend the knees to keep the spine long, no problem. And then we'll find our way down onto the knees. And we just see if we can find sitting down, hands out behind. So we do a little bit more shoulders, if we can. And for this one, we're going to have the palms of the hands facing back and the thumbs. The thumbs could even be touching, but they'll probably have to come a little wider so that you can reach the hands further back. You walk the hands back as far as you can, and you're on the tips of the fingers, and then you're just trying to stretch those fingers to roll down to the knuckles. And then from the knuckles, you're probably bending the elbows to see if you can ground into the hands. And you want the elbows probably somewhere above the wrists so that they're not too much behind you. And then from there, you're trying to relax, if you can, curl the tail towards the floor. And those shoulders are gently rounding forwards, and you're stretching something in the top of the shoulder. And if you can, you're lengthening the back of the spine too. And then from here, we're going to find our way back up onto the tips of the fingers. So you stretch those arms, stretch through those fingers, roll up to the tips of the finger. And normally you can walk those hands back a little further than what you first thought. And so you see if you can walk the hands back a bit further, still with those thumbs facing in towards each other, you're rolling down, stretching the fingers, then bending the elbows as deep as you can. Fingers pointing towards the hips, and you're just kind of hanging in and feeling all of that tension in the shoulders. And if you can, you're trying to angry cat, curl that tail under, trying to lengthen the lower back towards the floor. And then we're going to do all of that one more time. So we're sort of seeing if we can roll back up, arms extending. So we're stretching a little bit the wrists and the fingers up onto the tips of the fingers. And can you walk those hands back just a little bit further? So if you've gone really far and when you come down, your elbows don't get over the wrist, then you've probably gone too far. But for most of us, it's when you get that bit further, you can go deeper and those elbows sort of arriving above those wrists. So Sandra, you could go back even a bit further, I think, with the hand. And you're leaning in and hanging in and resting into those hands. It wants to be okay in the hands and a bit unpleasant in the shoulders and the back. And if you can, you're stretching the spine. If you're comfortable here, you might try to go a little further. You might try to draw those knees into the chest and try to get the knees to the forehead, or even extend those legs to reach through, but you're hanging into those arms and bending those arms. And then we'll find our way all the way back and all the way back up, stretching through the fingers and walking those hands back in, and just shake out those arms, anything that you like, shoulders, just let them be loose and release. And then taking a little moment just to be down on the back if you can. So we're going to forego a little bit of relaxation. You can take some relaxation after class if you like. But we're going to see if we can just relax on the back for a moment. If you can, arms wide, soles of the feet down. And then with the soles of the feet down, just try to shake the hips in the floor. So see if you can shake the bottom side to side without lifting the hips. And you just kind of get this sort of moving quite fast. Shake, 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 shake. But this relaxing all the while, and just seeing if you can get the body to sort of rub into the floor, the tailbone to rub into the floor, the sacrum, rubbing into the floor, and the muscles around softening. And then let's see if we can find just a sort of tapping with the tail into the floor. So like we're beginning to roll up through the spine, just up and down, up and down. And as you do that, you might sort of see if you could roll up the spine with the heels pressing into the floor, and seeing if you could shake out by going up and down. And if up and down doesn't serve, you could try a little bit side to side somehow. And then just work that spine up and down until you're back down, sacrum to the floor. And then we're just going to shake out the arms, the wrists, maybe the shoulders. You can lift and drop them into the floor. It's more about the release than it is about anything, just shaking that out. And maybe you let the arms come back down. And then let's shake the legs up as well. So shake, shake, shake. And maybe the legs can be quite high, and maybe you can shake the feet 1, 2, 1, 2, and you feel that into the calves and relaxing the calves. And if you can try to find this inwards, outwards with the legs as well. So this sort of knees together, knees apart, which is quite tricky, but it can be quite nice to relax those calves as well. And then just taking a moment to drop them down to the floor. And maybe slide the feet forwards and just see if you could wriggle your way, and maybe roll the head a little bit into the floor so you're completely relaxed. And if that gives any pain in the back, you're welcome to come back to that, soles of the feet on the floor, or even to roll over to your side. So this is where we're going to draw the class to close. But if you did have time, if you had a bit of time for relaxation, just giving yourself time to be on the floor, if you can, with your awareness in the breath. Letting the breath pass through the nose, in through the nose and out through the nose. So I'm going to thank you for coming out. When you do finally come out of relaxation, do it gently, do it softly, and have a great day.
Thank you, Jessie. That was really lovely. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Really cool.
Jessie, that was brilliant.
Yay.
Absolutely.
You're going to put it on the website, Jessie?
I'm not sure. My website's being a bit annoying, so I might start putting them on YouTube, but I will put that accessible for you guys.
This is a good one. Yeah. How do you want to call it so we know which one it is?
How do you want me to call it?
Gosh. spine and hip work or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I will find. I will find.
Or just the date, perhaps.
Yeah.
And include the word stretch in whatever.
Include the word stretch.
Yes.
Anti.
No.
I know. I'm just being silly.
Never.
Oh, still recording. How terrible! I thought I pressed stop.